Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining our Ask a Sage Expert webinar, Escape the Financial Fortress, Mastering Bank Reconciliation. My name is Ali Pakalnis, and I will help facilitate our webinar. Before we get started, here are a few tips on using the Zoom platform so you can engage with our presenters and have the best experience possible. We encourage you to ask questions throughout the presentation. Please feel free to unmute yourself and ask questions live, or if you prefer, you can use the Ask a Question feature to type them in. If you need any assistance, click on the Raise Your Hand button and I will connect with you to help. Within 72 hours of the webinar, you will receive a link to download the slide deck and recorded presentation. And with that, I'd like to introduce you to our presenters today, Alex Kim and Joseph Akbena.
Hello, everyone. My name is Alex, and I'm a senior consultant here at Armanino, where I've spent the past 6 years supporting our Sage Intacct clients post-implementation as part of the managed services team. I'm based in Southern California, and today I will be walking you through Sage Intacct's bank reconciliation and the bank cloud features. And today's session will focus on practical ways to streamline your reconciliation and reduce manual matching in Sage Intacct. And sharing the floor with me is Joseph.
Hello, all. My name is Joseph, a solution architect for the firm. I've been with Armanino for, gosh, 9 years now. Um, uh, Countless implementations. I usually handle any custom integration, customizations, or anything that connects to Intacct. Um, and with that, let's looking forward to beginning here. So with that, let's continue on. All right, so our goal today is basically bank rec, right? So goal today is basically to utilize Sage's best practice and automation tools to help you on that just dreadful task that you do every month, which is bank reconciliation, right? You just hopefully it's done every month. And it's just something that we have to do. We'll show you the manual way, or rather the legacy way, on how to do bank recs and how it's usually done, not the preferred way, which is why we'll show you the better way. There's a couple of ways that we show it to you, right? So there's the CSV way or the automated way. And lastly, we'll show you Sage's automation tool with matching rule sets and creation rules to help with your bank, basically with your bank reconciliation. All right. So let's go to the next slide. All right. So what will we do today? So we'll show you the first bank rec, right? So if you've been if you've just gone live with Intacct, usually we walk you through your first bank reconciliation. We walk through one. Um, if you have hundreds of bank reconciliations out there, then this is something that you have to do on every single one of your bank rec, right? We'll show you what's needed for your bank reconciliation, how to get past that, and just move on to the month end task of basically doing your bank rec. Um, and then we'll show you the monthly bank reconciliation. We'll show you how to simplify your bank reconciliation, the import and banking cloud in Intacct, which is great tools if you want to connect your bank to Intacct, and automating and matching rules. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay, so your first bank reconciliation. We'll show you a demo in here. So this is just a quick introduction. But for for your first bank reconciliation, you basically need three things to get things started. One is the first bullet point in there is your bank statement balance as of your reconciliation date. We'll show you a demo of Intacct and we'll go through a scenario where let's say you've gone live on 10/1/2025, and then the first step in there is actually re-reconciling September. So you went live on 10/1. You've reconciled September in your old system, right? We'll re-reconcile September again in Intacct to set up uh to establish a beginning balance, right? So that's the first thing we need. So on your first bank rec, you need your bank statement balance as of your reconciliation date, which is in our case is 9/30/2025. And that's easy. You just basically log into your bank, download your bank statement, look at the bottom, there should be a bank balance in there, right? It's audit proof. You just plop it there in Intacct. The second thing you need is your initial open items. So as of your 9:30 bank reconciliation, most likely you would have reconciling items, right? We need those lists from you as well because they will remain open and unreconciled as of 9:30. Okay. There would be an auto contra that will be enabled on when we're doing the 9:30 bank reconciliation. That needs to be cleared. Okay. The third and last thing we need is a current book balance as of your reconciliation date. In our case, still 9:30, right? So we need your beginning cash basically up until 9:30. We have some scenarios where perhaps our you're not ready for your full jail history up until your go live date, but you need to reconcile. So we have ways to momentarily uh establish your cash beginning balance as of 9:30. It's basically creating a temporary journal entry as of 9:30 and then reversing it out on 10/1. Okay. So we need your most current trial balance data for your cash at least as of your reconciliation date. You'll see that auto entry in Intacct as well, and that needs to be cleared. Okay. So let's go to the next slide. So now that you've gone past your first bank rec, uh now it's the monthly grind of the bank reconciliation, right? So usually you have a paper in your hand or a PDF in one screen, Intacct on the other screen, and you're just basically tick and tying, right? It's the legacy way. It's not our preferred way. A better way or a good solution is basically importing your bank feeds in from your bank to Intacct, right? There's a CSV file. We'll show you what the CSV template looks like. But a better way is basically connecting your bank to Intacct. Okay. It will feed it constantly. Any transaction that's happening in your bank, you'll see the transactions in Intacct. You have an option to say, all right, I see this $1,000 check, for example, that came in. Does it reconcile to what I have in Sage? Or do I have to do something? Maybe I have to create a journal entry, or maybe I have to create a payment from that $1,000. Okay, so we'll show you how that looks like as well. And then lastly, there's the automation rules. Importing the bank information to Intacct is only step one, right? Step two, and where it really matters is matching them up. So you could have thousands of transactions syncing to your bank from your bank to Intacct, but it won't do any good for you until you utilize Intacct's matching rules. Okay. All right, let's go to the next slide. So import template. So that is the one way to get your bank information to Intacct. Basically, it's a CSV import, right? It has a very specific requirements, right? If you've seen one of those Intacct templates, um, uh, Intacct requires like those headers and very specific values, right? So that's what we'll show you today. We have seen some scenarios where bank feeds doesn't work um on the bank that you're using. Couple of reasons. Maybe it's just unsupported, right? Or maybe the bank is very restrictive on a third party. Intacct is actually using Plaid to connect to the bank. That specific bank is very restrictive on having a third party accessing their data. So we can't really do anything about that. And the next best way is via the import process. Okay. It will do the same thing that your bank feed would do, just the extra step of importing it directly to Intacct. All right. So let's go to the next slide. Then this is the preferred route, basically Banking Cloud. Well, Alex is going to show you how to connect Banking Cloud in Intacct as well. You can connect up to 200 banks for free, right? Um, I have seen 200 checking accounts out there in Intacct before. Not very many, but they do exist. Just so you're aware. If you are an Intacct environment that has 200 banks that you want to connect, there would be an extra cost. But 95%, 99% of the time, that's not usually the case. All right. Okay, let's go to the next slide. And automation with matching rules. So this is the second step that I was talking about. Having those bank feeds in Intacct is nice, but it won't do anything until you have matching rules. So you can actually match, dollar by dollar, right? You can say, here's the $1,000 from Intacct, here's the $1,000 from the bank, and maybe that $1,000 is not enough. You want to add another layer of matching rules, maybe the check number, right? And the date. So Intacct will do its best to match them up once we have the bank feeds. All right. Um, and basically the benefit is it just works. It just works for you. Uh, and it's not an instantaneous feed from your bank. Usually it takes like 4 hours. I would give it a day for you to be able to see those bank transactions in Intacct, right? And there's just some screenshots in Intacct as well, but it's not as good as a demo. So we'll actually go through a demo right now.
Yep. Okay, so let's say we're brand new and Intacct and we went live 10/1 and we finished the September reconciliation in your old system. Now we're going to be reconciling September in Sage Intacct. So let's select the account that we want to reconcile. And our cutoff date would be September 30th, and the ending balance, like Joseph said, you can find on your bank statement. For our example, I'll be using this number here. And the next item would be the initial open items. You do have the option to manually add your open items one by one, or use the import function by hitting import, hit the upload import initial open item. And for our testing purposes, I have pre-populated a transaction. You want to fill out the date, the doc number, the type, the amount, the payee, and the description. And in row 2, it will give you the required format or the valid values that Intacct will accept. So once you fill that out, hit import, choose the file that you just filled out, and hit import. Once it's imported, it will show up on this list, and go ahead and close. And we're going to hit continue. And in our example, our auto entry is $686,974, and our auto contra is 3,000. You want to match these two lines, so hit clear transactions so that the amount to reconcile equals to 0. So once you match those, go ahead and hit reconcile. And this will conclude the September reconciliation, your first bank rec. This will show you the reconciliation report. Next, we're going to be reconciling October. So I'm going to show you the good solution, which is the import functionality. So let's go ahead and select our bank account. We're going to use 1031. And for our ending balance, I'm going to use 981,274. Hit the import link, and this will take you to the import template. And for time purposes, I have pre-populated. So you'll be needing the posting date, the transaction type, withdrawal or deposit, document type, which would be ACH or check, your doc number, the payee, the amount, and description. And I do want to note that withdrawals need to be negative amounts and deposits need to be positive amounts. So once you have that populated, go back to Intacct. We're going to choose the file. I'm going to use this one right here. and hit done. Continue. And you'll see that the 3 transactions I just imported were automatically matched due to the matching rule I have assigned to this banking account. I will cover creating the matching rule after this segment. Okay. Now I will be demonstrating the better solution, which is the banking cloud. First, you do need to subscribe to it. An admin needs to go to company, subscriptions, scroll down to the bottom, and look for Sage Cloud Services. If you do not have it turned on, go ahead and select it. And once it's selected, you will have a configure button. From here, go ahead and enable bank feeds. Once that's enabled, you want to connect your checking account to the bank. And once it's connected, you'll have it displayed at the bottom here. And like Joseph said, the first 200 are free, but if you do have north of 200 bank accounts, reach out to your account manager for a quote and next steps. Okay, next, let's go ahead and actually connect a bank feed. So go to cash management, checking. So for our testing purposes, I'm going to be connecting this bank account. And we'll be hitting Banking Cloud. Banking Cloud won't be available if you are not subscribed to the cloud services. So let's hit Banking Cloud, hit connect. And let's look for your bank. For our example, I'm just going to use Bank of America. Go ahead and hit Bank of America. And make sure the URL matches the URL that you use to log in. And if your bank is not listed, go ahead and click this link and fill in your bank name and the URL so that Intacct can potentially add it in a future release. And if your bank isn't supported, your option would be to use the import template. I'm going to connect to a demo. It's going to be called Sage Demo. Go ahead and read the terms and conditions, hit continue. And for our purposes, it's not going to ask for our credentials, but when you are connecting to a real bank account, it will connect you to Plaid and ask for your bank account credentials. From here, we're going to type in 10.1, which means all bank transactions in your bank from 10.1 and on will be synced to Intacct. We'll continue. And from here, we want to hit confirm. Now we can see that our bank has been connected to Intacct. The feed does refresh every 4 hours. So Intacct will pull your bank feeds every 4 hours. So if you do not see, let's say today is October 17 and you don't see a bank feed from 10/17, go ahead and hit refresh and give it a few moments to bring in your latest bank transactions. So once that's done, let's see. We have this link called Bank Transactions. And this will display all the bank transactions that are sunk into Intacct from your bank. From here, you do have the option to automatically or manually match transactions in Intacct, or go to the bank reconciliation screen and apply the banking or the matching rule to match your transactions. And the best part that we'll be covering is the rule set and the matching rules. This is the automation part where it's going to be a true game changer for your system. Earlier, I just covered 3 transactions, but if you have dozens of transactions at the end of the month, this is going to truly, reduce your hours and reduce the manual work for your bank rec every month. So let's go to rule sets. We're going to hit add here. We're going to call this one demo rule set. From here, hit new rule. This is where we're going to be filling out the conditions so that Intacct automatically matches your transactions. At the bottom here, at the matching conditions, our standard practice, we use document number equal to the document number on Intacct and the amount. Now you do have the option to also include description and posting date or check numbers as well. But for our purposes, we'll just use these two. We're going to rule and apply the one that we just created and hit save. And assign the rule set to your checking account. That way it does get auto assigned when you do your bank reconciliation every month. And in addition, I believe 2 releases ago, Intacct added a custom report that will display the matching on go to platform service, go to custom packages, package library, and then reconciliation matches, and go ahead and hit install. I already have it in my demo, so I won't be installing it, but once it's installed, you can find the report under cash management, custom reports, and it's called details of reconciliation matches. So that concludes my demo. I'll give the stage back to Joseph to conclude the slides.
Yeah. So let's go back to the slide. Perfect. All right. I see a lot of questions come in. We'll try to answer it as best as we can, and feel free to unmute as well, but we're almost done. Um, so we went through the bank reconciliation, the manual way, the automated way, right? And how it works. There's a Alex, go to the next slide. I think that's go to the next slide. Yeah. So the next webinar is actually 1099 filing, which is um appropriately timed. It's gonna be on December 18th, 2025, which is appropriately timed because we're gonna do our 1099s starting next year until April. So yeah, make sure to stay on that and learn a bit more. And go to the next slide. All right, thank you for joining us. I do want to answer some questions in here, right? First question so we have 2 questions that came out before the call, preliminary questions. The first question was, have you partnered with JP Morgan Chase for this application? The answer is yes. So JP Morgan is actually available on the banking cloud feed in Intacct. It's available out of the box. Um, although we've seen some inconsistencies when it's connected to Intacct, therefore we partnered as well with FiSpan that can bridge that gap. Okay. Um, we'll work directly with FiSpan. They would do require some things on the Intacct side to be enabled for the JP Morgan Chase application for their connector to work. Right. There's another question on how will Sage Intacct integrate AI with other how will AI integrate with the bank beads? The answer is not currently. So unfortunately, AI is enabled on AP automation. So that actually works pretty well, right? And AI works on the general ledger. It actually looks at fluctuation analysis. Like if you create a journal entry, if you tag an expense for a certain expense, and let's say you tag a department that is usually now tagged on a department on an expense account, right? Intact will call those out and just verify if those transactions are legit. Okay. But with bank beads, it's I would say there's no AI currently in there. It's automation rules, matching rules, and basically creating rules as well, creating journal entries if you need to. Okay. Um, so there's some questions. So I see a question from Lord Shaka. Uh, do you wanna come off mute and say your scenario?
Sure. Yes. Hi, can you
Yeah.
hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Hi. First of all, thank you for this information, and it's very interesting to see these features that are available to us. So my scenario is more of a practical kind of thing. I could see how this automation works well when there is a perfect one-to-one match between the data in Intact and the data that's coming from the bank. In practice, that's not always the case. You know, the
Yep.
way that data can be summarized and recorded in lump sums on in Intact for a variety of reasons. So you could end up with one entry in Intact that represents, let's say, 25 smaller bank transactions that are coming individually. So how does this automation handle that sort of, because it's going to be a mismatch, it's not going to be able to match it
Yeah.
one-on-one.
Yeah. In that case, it's not gonna match one for one, right? Um, but it will help you on reconciling. So let's say so in your case, it's actually the opposite. You have one transaction in Intact versus 20 transactions in your bank, right?
Yes.
Okay. In that case, the bank feed, it's not gonna auto match, right? Because there's no way for Intact to know that the $1,000 in Intact matches with the 20 transactions. Um, but what it will help you on is that you can start on Intact. You can say, here's the $1,000. You can mix and match. You can basically point out. We can match them one by one from Intact. Um, Alex, you want to show that real quick on how to match it from the Intact side or on the bank side?
Yep.
So I'm not sure, Lord, if that answers your question, but the automation rule kind of doesn't work in that case.
Right, right. That's why I'm asking
Uh,
the question. Yes. So
Yeah.
what do we do? What does the system, does it throw an exception? Does it do
It
something of
it
that sort?
remains unmatched. So in this case, yeah, Alex is. So see those state on the right hand corner. So the match state are the ones that Intact did its best to match them, like that Lenovo for 4500, right? Um, Intact found the perfect match between the $1,000 and the date and maybe the check number, right? However, there's a unmatched. Let's choose a good one. Let's say that ADP payroll run for 200,450, right? So you can match them. So currently it didn't match. So Alex, click on that match button on the right hand
Mm-hmm.
corner. Yep. It's gonna pull your bank feed then. Okay. And you can say, all right, out of this $200,000, what makes up this $200,000? So you can like pick and
Yeah.
choose which ones in here.
Or type in Google
Yeah.
in the payee.
Or you can start from the bank side. Let's say there's one transaction, there's one line item in your bank and 20 transactions in Intact. You can start where you want. You can start on the bank side and match them with the transactions in Intact. It is still a manual process, right? But it helps with the reconciliation piece. That makes sense.
Understood. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Okay. Yeah, there's a question from Miguel Martinez about the open bill. Um, and I did some digging. It has to be paid for it to match. Alright.
There's also some questions in the Q&A, Joseph, too.
Yeah. I'm not sure if I've seen those, but what are those questions?
So the first one is, why every time we need to import open items were these not in record?
Why every time we import open items not, can you kind of
Or-
come off mute and elaborate? Like, is it not importing properly? Is Intacct giving you an error?
Well, I'll move on to the next one. This one is, do Sage Cloud services cost extra?
It does not. That's a good thing. So it will only cost extra if you connect 200 plus bank accounts.
Okay, thank you. The next is, are these features for nonprofits?
So long as you're an Intacct user, uh, it's available for everybody, regardless of for profit or not for profit.
Okay, and then is a recording of this session being sent to us afterward? Yes, you should get it tomorrow or Monday at the latest.
Okay. These are great questions, right? I like to explore. If you have any other questions, I like to explore more. So I see some questions on the chat as well, um, like Miguel's and Lart. So if you like to come talk to us and talk about your specific scenarios and how we can help, um, or some tips and tricks out there to make your process a bit more manageable, right? Um, we're happy to discuss those. Yep. Thanks, Ali, for my email. Happy to answer those emails. Looking forward to it. Yeah, so open items are the unreconciled uh transactions from your last bank rec. So let's say you went live on 10/1, right? So you went live on 10/1. Uh, your open items list is your unreconciled items from your September bank reconciliation. So do those first, perform your September bank rec, right? That will establish your open items. Then you import those to Intacct. Because what you would do is you would re-reconcile September in Intacct. Then those open items will remain open until you reconcile September. Okay. All right. Art means, do you wanna talk offline
Yes,
and yeah?
if it is allowed, that's fine. Yes, you mentioned that we need to import the file of open items, which are unreconciled items in the previous reconciliations, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm correct. So like
Correct.
in QBO or other systems, if there are unreconciled items, they are already taken into account while making the reconciliations to see that these are already matched with the current transactions, either in the GL or the bank statement.
Mm-hmm.
So in tag Sage, it means that there is no capability of linking the previous unreconciled because both reconciliations in the same system. So logically, the Sage system should trace the previous unreconciled items and trace if these are resolved or not resolved. So in this case, particularly, I just wanted to make sure that there is no this function is not active to auto reconcile open items from the previous, and we need to re-import again to let the system know that these are open.
Okay. Art means, do you mind emailing me? Alex and I and everybody in here, just state out your scenario. Maybe give us your company ID as well, so if you have access or not, right?
Here's
And
our
we'll
email.
yes, and
Yeah, sure.
we'll
Thank
talk
you.
through that.
Right.
Yeah, because that is
Thank
very
you.
important. Your first bank rec should establish your beginning balance on your bank rec in there. Okay.
Oh,
All
okay. Thank
right.
you.
Okay. Alrighty. And that. Thank you very much.
Thank you, everyone.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good day.